you truly become a great storyteller, right? Because retelling is simply retelling stories, just like you heard tonight. You know, it makes our job a lot easier if we can switch our perspective in the word selling. Everybody say, I'm not a salesman.
Not a salesman.
You know, so you're not a salesman, and I think that's the biggest part and the biggest factor of people who, you know, are looking at this opportunity and the big scary things. Well, the objection, right, is, oh, I'm not a salesman. I'm like, well, great. You know, overcoming that objection is really easy because I'm like, great. You know what? You know, I'm so glad that you're not, because nobody wants to be sold anything, but we would like to be told and educated and informed on the things that we're buying and how they can make a difference, right? Just hearing Beverly's testimony, it's powerful. Would you agree?
Yes.
And then like, wait, your ears perk up, and all of a sudden, maybe you see someone, or maybe you know someone that is experiencing these same issues. We simply retell what we've already heard. That's why it's important to show up, right? Because then every single week you're mixing and mingling with people maybe that you don't know, and then you're finding out stories about so-and-so, and they had this and that, and wow, it changed their life. You know, and so when you really think about the opportunity and us having such a diverse group of products that we get to offer people, I think it's amazing, right? And so, I mean, think about it, we're just not in one box. For our guests, you know, we have 14 different divisions, and we own the internet. Everybody said cha-ching? Right? Because, I mean, would you agree if you were told 20 years ago, Bucky, that you could own a little piece of Amazon? Right? First of all, you'd probably be like, what's that? You know? But then you would either have to have fear or you'll have to have faith to believe that it was going to be something bigger, or maybe it wouldn't. But you guys, we've been around for 25 years. Over $7 billion, everybody say cha-ching? Dollars that literally, you know, our companies do and sell, and they've always beat the last quarter. They've never ever skipped a quarter. 9/11, when the terrorist attacks hit and companies were struggling, we literally grew, and we did more than we did the quarter before. Why? Because we have so much to offer. And it's so nice because, and we're partnered with everyday average people, and we're partnered with, you know, super crazy, like, you know, not crazy. Not crazy people. Right? When you think about Carmelo Anthony, when you're thinking about, you know, Scottie Pippen, you know, sitting down with him and he's talking about the bone and joint support. I mean, this guy's like, yo, it changed my life. You know, getting to talk about how, you know, his basketball injuries, you know, and what this product did for him, it'll make you listen. And then it'll make you put a story in your tool belt. Should have worn my tool belt tonight, right? And so it'll make you put a story in your tool belt, you know, that you can pull out when you're listening to people. The best thing I love about this business is I can simply listen to people. And I listen to what they're going through. Or I listen that they're shopping. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you getting cash back with what you're buying? They're like, no. Christine and I were just talking about it. She works for Kroger's, and she works in the pharmacy. And I was telling her, I was like, girl, she's like, I don't even know where I'm at, what I'm doing. I was like, girl, you're at the right place at the right time. Because you know what? We simply are that type of company where we own it all. And yet I think we're a really humble company with our leadership and the people that we're around and the people that we work with. It's an exciting environment to go put yourself in. And yet you don't have to think of yourself like a salesperson. You know, you simply can think of yourself like somebody who's sharing information, just like Michael, right? He's using the product already at work, right? And you think about this, and yet somebody hears from somebody that it helps so-and-so, and now what are they doing? They're like, hey, Michael, what did you give him? Oh, well, let me try. Right? So last week we talked about giving those samples out. Good to see you. Giving those samples out, right? And think about it. It's going to yield return, right? It's going to yield a return in your life because you're giving seed away, right? And it's going to what? It's going to grow. And the more seeds you put out there, the more return you're going to get. But listen, if you're scared to scatter the seed, right, Ryan? You know, Ryan's out there, he's scattering all these seeds. He's doing 3-way phone calls. He's like, Brandy, hey, can you help me with this? Like, yeah, sure. You know, some of the seed, it falls on stony ground. Some of the seed, you know what, it doesn't necessarily reap a harvest. But you know what I love about this business? It doesn't take a lot. We don't have to have a lot. Because it's not about what I do, it's about what we do together. And so eventually that literally grows leaps and bounds. Just this week, I have to brag. Emily Olson's group. Emily good job, guys. Right? And I know, who else grew this week? I mean, if I didn't miss you, I want to make sure you're acknowledged. But listen, Wendy, here's Spring. Hey, that's growth, right? She said, no, I just signed somebody up. I just partnered with somebody. Hello, touchy, right? Listen, I talk about that because, listen, I want you to understand. Emily goes out every single day and she has the affirmation of herself, that I'm too blessed to be stressed. I'm too anointed to be disappointed. I'm the head, not the tail. I'm the lender, not the bar. I'm above and not beneath. When you say these things, they're going to bring life, and that brings life over her people. She always calls me. I've never heard Emily be negative. And can I tell you what? The greatest thing about her is that she pours that on her people. You have to pour it out, because then it's going to come back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. When you bring life, it's impossible for you not to get life back. Does that make sense, you guys? So when we're out there, we're talking about what do we do as a business owner, Christina? I don't know. We just run into people and I'm saying, just like you, right? God puts people in your path, and you have no idea where that's going to lead. But guess what? It's never going to go anywhere if you don't open your mouth. So when you understand that retelling is simply retelling the stories and being a good listener. Everybody say, I'm a good listener. Everybody look at your neighbor and say, are you a good listener? Look at the other person beside you and say, are you a good listener? Because a lot of times we want to talk about things and we get in our business and then what we have the throw up. We push the throw up button. Like when we throw up on people. Right? We're like, oh my gosh, and then people don't understand, and you're talking about, girl, all she gotta give is one of them, and one of Brian, they got BB and IBB, and you are confused. Ellie and Christina have no idea what I'm talking about. And we're so excited, like, girl, I got the BB and this BB, cha-ching, you know what I mean? And they're confused. We get so weird in this business. We get weird, and it's so difficult because people, they run from you. When you get weird, all of a sudden, you go, where did they go? Wait, how did y'all been watching me, right? So you have to educate versus thinking selling, right? You have to educate people. You're getting the education every week. Are you writing it down? Are you remembering it? Are you putting it in practice? Listen, the best way that you're going to ever get good at this is when you start rehearsing things. Go back over the information that you've heard, right? Because then you take practice and you're like, hey, okay, you take the action or the activity that we're giving you and we're saying, hey, get out there and just try it. And then you get excited when you're out there, Miss Linda, and you have these results. Now tell us, right? Because now what are we going to do? We're going to take Miss Linda's testimony and put it in our tool belt, right? But if you guys get all your testimonies and you don't share them, that's all like, please stop at the booth. Because this really is a big deal for our company to hear these testimonies, and it's coming right here from Tomball, Texas, right? So we're planting the seeds out, right, Jim Morris? We're planting those seeds. right? What's your name?
Tim.
Tim. Hey, Tim. How are you? So think about it. You know, I mean, if I'm talking to Tim, I don't know Tim, right? But he looks like a healthy guy, you know, with some nice dimples, you know? I might meet Tim out somewhere and, you know, be small talking or whatever, and he had a great smile. That's why I said his name. You know, I'm like, oh my gosh, Tim! Well, I don't know his name at this point, but I do now. But if I'm out and about and I see this guy, I'm like, man, you got a nice smile. Well, I mean, and of course, you know, sometimes women, we gotta be careful because they might be thinking we're hitting on them, right? But a lot of times, you know what, if you see that, listen, I don't care. I'm confident in who I am. I'm like, hey, you know what? You got a nice smile. You know, are you in the health industry at all? Are you?
No.
No? Do you know anybody in the health industry?
No, I work at AT&T, but I'm part of, like, just recently joined.
Sweet, AT&T is are you a guest tonight?
Well, kind of, I guess.
Oh, give me a 5. I can't chase you on this thing. Okay, so you work for AT&T. Awesome. Have you ever heard of a product called Isotonics?
Yeah, I just ordered it.
Oh, well, see? Great. That's awesome. But you know what? Listen, at the end of the day, I don't know, you have to look at people and find reasons to connect. But guess what? If you're always looking down at the ground, you're never going to see anybody. You're never going to make personal contact with people. And you know what? Our company challenges you to get in front of 30 faces in 30 days. You know, just to try it. Doesn't matter if you sell anything. Doesn't matter if doesn't matter if you do. It matters to you if you do. But what's great is that I am just putting myself out there, like becoming a stretch mark in my business. And I'm asking people, listen, my company's put me in a challenge, and I have to, you know, find 30 faces in 30 days, and you look like you've got a great face. You know, have you ever heard of Motives Cosmetics? You have never heard of Motives Cosmetics? Have you ever heard of Lala Anthony? What? You've never heard of Lala Anthony? Shoot, I need to introduce you to her. No, but let me ask you this, do you know anyone that likes makeup?
Yes.
Do you like makeup?
No.
Oh my gosh, but you know people. Your daughters love makeup? Oh my gosh. Okay, so is there any way you could do me a favor? Maybe we can exchange numbers, and I'm not crazy. Listen, I am telling you, I am so excited because I'm actually in charge of finding the right people, and 30 faces in 30 days is our challenge. And if you will introduce me to your daughters who love makeup, what do you like? Do you like skincare? You don't like skincare? You're trying to figure out what you like tonight? How old are you? So, okay, let me ask you this. Do you take vitamins?
Yes.
You do? Well, Christina, here's the deal. I will help you if you help me. And we can do like just a little private event, and you can invite me to your house, or you can come to my house. And bring your daughters, and I'll give you a free lip gloss or a product, and then I'll actually give you some free vitamins just for helping me on my challenge. I think it'd be fun, don't you? So I'm going to get your information, and tell me when's the best time to call you.
Anytime after 5.
Anytime after 5. Would you like a text, or would you just like me to just straight call you up?
Whatever's convenient for you.
Perfect, I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Who cares? Right? Who cares, right? At the end of the day, I'm gonna never know. And my retailing business will never get bigger if I don't share it with someone. Right? I mean, her daughters may absolutely not at all like the makeup. There's no way that they're not going to, because we are the best makeup out there, and they don't even know about it. Right? When they find out about Motives, it's crazy. And so I've done the education on Motives, so I'm excited about Motives. You know, and so then when I get in front of them, guess what? You know, nobody wants to be around anybody not having fun. I tell them, you know, the number one ingredient to selling anything is F-U-N. Y'all thought I was going to say something about that. I'm in church. I didn't do that. So, you know what? Fun. You bad people. transform our perspective, right? But we have to get out to do it. We have to get in front of people. We have to be looking. Everybody say, I have to look. You do. You have to look, right? Katie did 30 faces in 30 days. I think she was one of the first ones that did 30 faces in 30 days. And I loved it because, you know, I said, Katie, how are you doing it? She's like, I'm just asking.
Right.
They're like, okay, I'll help you.
Should I call in for my 30 faces again?
You're doing it again. Y'all give her a round of applause. She's already done it. So we talked about matching people to product. You know, obviously I know Christina, she's not into makeup. Her daughters are. But it's learning how to ask the right questions. When she shoots me down with, no, I don't like makeup. What if I said, oh, okay, thank you. Well, you have a great day. You know, no, I'm always thinking ahead, right? I'm always starting with the end in mind, and that's going to be a point we make a little bit later. But the thing is that I'm always going to find a way to connect her to something that I have. And I love that. Again, if I just sold makeup, I'm stuck. Because now she's out, right? Tim's not going to buy makeup from me if I was in a makeup business. Right, Tim? Right. You know? I know Tom's not going to buy makeup from me. Neither Tom. Right? But at the end of the day, guess what? Sometimes along the way, maybe Tim, you might have a significant other that wears makeup, or Tom, or myself, you know, that wears makeup. And guess what? They're going to eventually buy gifts for us. So we can help the men out with retailing and say, oh my gosh, I know it's Valentine's coming up, or whatever the holiday is. Have you thought about what you're going to get yet? Because most men are running to the Walmarts at 12 p.m., right? Walmarts, I didn't say that, Tony. So, at 12 in the morning, oh my gosh, and they're picked over the goodie aisle, and they're like, hey, what's up in there? You know what I mean? And then they bring home the leftovers. Well, that's not any good, right? So at the end of the day, you know what? We can help them as a business owner, right? We can think ahead when we're talking about selling. You know, whatever holiday is coming around, we always think about when does the stores put out the holidays for Christmas? All of that. Right? I mean, they're starting, you're walking in, you're like, my gosh, it's Christmas time, and it's like July. Right? But they start marketing. What are you doing in your business to market yourself? Retailing and selling comes with marketing. You know, if you're not a good marketer, find someone else who is and copy their idea. Because in this business, it's leverage. Because when you have an idea, Alicia, and I have an idea, now we have two ideas. And in this business, we're not stingy with our ideas because we want to help each other grow as fast as we can. The one thing, Christina, when you partner in this business, my goal for you is to get you paid as fast as possible. Does that excite you?
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Yes, ma'am, it does. Right? Because if she doesn't grow, neither do I. Right? And I'm not excited about, you know, not helping her or watching her struggle. I'm going to give her all the education and all the training and the confidence to get out there and be successful. You know, it's ultimately up to her. I'm not going to take credit for her success, but I'm not going to take credit if she never shows up and fails. And the only way you fail is if you don't ever get started or if you quit. That is the only way you fail in this business. Would you agree? So, yeah. So it's just as honorable to sell as it is to buy. How many of you guys have gone to the store and you're sitting there behind the checkout station, or the ladies behind the checkout station, or man, and they're checking you out and they got your products, and all of a sudden, you just start flipping out on them? Anybody? Like, can you see this? Like, you're checking out at Walmart, Jamar's? Whatever, but you're not supposed to be there anyway because you shop online. But you're at Walmart, you're checking out, and all of a sudden, you look at the lady behind the counter and you're like, excuse me, you just pressured me. You're just making me buy this. I know that you made me want to pick that up and put that in my basket. You know, no, that is not real. We don't do that. So why do we get down to the close, or why do we get to getting to an event and all of a sudden we freeze up? It's a close. You know, we did all this work, we did all the follow-up, we got the people there, we did the event, and all of a sudden all of a sudden we gotta do the close. You know, we start tripping out. The thing is the people aren't like, you made me buy this. They don't know. If you're giving good customer service, was getting started, and everybody can grow in this trust me. But I sat there at the close and I just froze up. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so I did the 3 questions that I was taught, and then all of a sudden, 1 second feels like 10 minutes. Yet they're looking at maybe how they're gonna buy what they're gonna buy, and you're sitting there and I say, oh, did you have fun? Okay, great. What did you want to get started with? And I was like, all of a sudden, she's looking and I'm like, my pits are sweating. I'm like, oh my God. You want to buy anything? And I was like, you know what? It's okay. I know it's totally too expensive. Why don't you think about it? I did that. I give anybody hope. You too can be successful. Because at the end of the day, I just shot myself in the foot. And I thank God I had a business leader sitting next to me. And under the table, she was like, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, she's like, you, the first person that talks loses. You ask the questions, and then after that, they're making their decisions. But a lot of times we talk people out of, faster than they're even be able to make a decision. So we have to understand when we're doing events, when we're in a business transaction, let them decide. Give them a second, give them options. They're just thinking about it. And yet we've created all this fear. Tim, have you ever been selling, or do you sell phones at AT&T? Have you ever been selling phones and be like, no, you know what, you probably should go check out Verizon. They're way too expensive here. Why would you never do that?
Because you're just telling someone to walk away.
You're telling them to walk. You know what? You know what you're really telling them? You don't believe in what you have. Because when I'm done, y'all, I'm telling y'all, y'all see me, the people that come to me, I said, you have got to have this mascara. I'm even telling Michael he needs a mascara. I'm like, you have got to get this mascara and give it to somebody because this mascara is the bomb. And to be quite honest, you guys, I love what we have because you know what? When you get passionate about these products and they change your life and you start seeing the lives that they change of others and they will change your lashes. You can't help it. And then people are like, oh my gosh. Matter of fact, I started a mascara club and you buy 10 and you get 2 for free. And they're like, 10 and 2? Like, yes. Listen, they're going to be buying so much mascara, you're not worried about the 2 that you're giving free out.
That's right.
Right? And so think about it. What ways are you being creative in your selling process? Are you believing it? Are you really speaking it out there? Or are you just scared because you're not a salesman? You have to change that perspective. You have to realize that, if I went to the AT&T store and Tim told me, yeah, Verizon's cheaper, then he just shot himself in the foot. And it told me, wow, I'd walk out and think, what kind of salesman is that guy? I would, wouldn't y'all? And then I would tell people, don't go to the AT&T store, don't tell Tim. Don't go see Tim, or you might want to see Tim, he's probably going to get it. But think about it, you guys. So, Stacy and I were talking yesterday or the day before about, selling product. And she told me, she says, Brandy, this is where I was the most scared. She was saying, it's intimidating and it's fearful. And I said, oh my gosh, me too. And I think that when you overcome that fear and you really start to understand, like for the longest time, you guys, when I would do events, I would make sure that, I was there, but I didn't want to do the presentation part. I was like, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to set it up for you, girl. I'm going to get it good. And the person that brought me into the business, you know what? I had her, show up and do the talking and the presenting because I just thought she did better. But the problem was I was handicapping myself. And so it wasn't until she didn't show up one time, and I don't know if y'all heard this story, but she didn't show up. So matter of fact, she waited like 2 to 3 minutes, and usually she was already there like 15 minutes. We had a little fake. It was like, okay, I got there 30 minutes early. I set it all up. I got it all pretty, ready to go. And then she walked in, did the presentation, and boom, she sold. She was like, stuff just flew off, to the counter because she was so good, right? And you know who I'm talking about, right? Well, here's the deal. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, my phone rings. I'm like, hey, girl, you in traffic? She's like, no. Listen, you're the eagle. And I'm throwing out the moment. I'm throwing you out of the nest tonight. I'm looking in the room for the people, and I'm like, what do you mean? Wait. What do you mean I'm an eagle? Right now, I'm going to kill you when I leave here. over and over. You know what I mean? I just didn't have the confidence in myself. But you guys, I literally stood up there, and I don't even remember, I blacked out, I think, through half of it. But somehow, I sold $1,200 in product that night. I ran out there just skipping and jumping and excited. And I remember making that phone call back to her, and I said, "Girl, I'm so excited. It's the best thing you ever did for me. Thank you so much. I love you." She was like, "Phew," because I thought you were going to come up here and just murder me, you know? And the truth was, it was the confidence that kicked me out. Like, I had to get my own confidence and built up, and you have to get your own confidence built up. So that's why we tell you, come, we have the ABC pattern in this business. That means that we go from this house with these people, and then we find somebody, and we're like, okay, you know, instead of meeting strangers, we're like, hey, do you know someone? Now we can go to their house, and we work through a process and a system, and then it's not as scary, because you're not having to go out there and meet a bunch of strangers. You're meeting one person at arm's length away. Right? And so it makes it easier to do this business, and then what happens is we help build each other's confidence. Right? We just go, you know what? We're gonna all do this together, and then we all play a little bit of a part. So I love this business because we're sharpening each other. You know, we really are sharpening. I know, Mickey, you had an event just this week, and you did, you and actually Wendy was there, and you guys had 2 people there, or 1 person there, 2 people there. And you know what? Hey, they expose the product. I mean, you actually, you know.
It's going to be good. Where it's going to lead, I have very good hopes of where it's going to go.
Listen, here's the deal. I would much rather you go to an event and you build a relationship with someone that gets you back to that next event than you go to an event and sell a bunch of product and you never see those people again. It was a one-time sale, and honestly, that's nothing. But I was looking at their event, and it was small, and it was intimate, but guess what? When I build a relationship with you, you're going to come back. As long as I'm genuine, and as long as I'm authentic in this. Do you guys agree with that? And so many times, you know, we shortcut that process because we have dollar signs in our eyes that we have to get, or that we need to maintain. Do you have a sales quota, Tim?
Yes.
You have a sales quota. All right, so when people come in, they basically look like a dollar sign when they come in. Let's be honest, right? I mean, it's true, because that's what the traditional sales world looks like. It's dog eat dog. And then, Tim, are you in competition with the people there? You're in competition. What I love, Tim, is that here we're 100% together. And guess what? When I sell a cell phone, let's just pretend I sold with you, and I sold cell phones, you would get 100% of the work I did that day. Would that excite you? So that's exciting, right? You guys, when we have the power to explain to people that we will eliminate that competition. Because now, remember, my goal is to make sure that Christina makes money, right? My goal is to make sure that Tim is going to be successful. And Tim's going to be relieved when he knows, oh my gosh, there's no monthly quota. Right? I remember when Quimby and I did the call out for, you know, and Emily was a part of the process, but we did this advertisement when we began Motives. And we put an ad out for professionals in the professional industry. And we said, hey, you know, we are going to be launching Motives Cosmetics in this area. And we had 20 people show up. And literally 11 people worked for Matt Cosmetics. And I'm telling you, it was like cat scratch fever when they all walked in the door. They're like, you know, and I'm like, I could tell who did not like who and that around that little table. But the walls went down when we started talking about selling. Because when they asked us, I was like, okay, and I knew, right? I was like, all right, so tell me, you know, how many guys have worked together? Sure enough, the ones that look crazy, they work together. And I began to ask them, like, can I ask you guys a question? Is it pretty competitive? And they're like, yes. Every single day, Mac had like a crazy, it was thousands of dollars that you would have to do, Bucky, every single day. That was what you would have to do before you went home. And that's how you got paid. You had to sell, let's just say $1,000 a day. And so did everybody else working in that same hours as you. And what was crazy is when we began to explain to them, what if I could show you a way that every time that you sold product, everybody at this table, and I took a lipstick, and I passed around the lipstick, and it went hand to hand to hand to hand to hand. And I said, 100% of you are going to get credit. There's literally points that are attached to this product, and are going to get 100% of the points that you sell, whatever that is on that product. So let's just say you sold 1,000 points in product that day because of what you had to do. Well, guess what? Bucky, you wouldn't just get $1,000, but Tanya would get 1,000, and Nora would get, and Michelle would. And as they went around, they were like, what? Because see, there was this one girl, and she sold the most. It was crazy. I don't even know. She sold like crazy money every day. And I asked them, I said, who sells the most? And when she raised her hand, I said, how much do you sell? I don't know. It was like $5,000, let's just say, a day this woman sold for another company. And I said, now, wouldn't that be nice, Mickey? And if all of you guys got credit for her $5,000, they were all like, yeah. I'm like, now what would be nice if no longer did you take those people and sell that product at the Mac counter, and you sold the product. You did it. Mac was not there to do that. So you sold Macs to them, and you get zero. You get your paycheck, and you have to do your quota. You get nothing. You literally get nada. What if I could show you a way that you could brand yourself to Motives, and not only would you get what you sold in your retail profit, but you would literally get 100% of credit of what everybody would do in this room. And then what happens is, no longer are you selling from Mac, but when your customers, when they buy one time, they come back and they buy it again, and they buy it again, and they buy it again from you. Because now you are the Mac counter. You are branding yourselves to Motives and have an opportunity. Well, their eyes just lit up. And they were like, what? And just like you heard, if you didn't hear that story about Emily, when we were talking to her, and she's like, okay, she told me, she said, Brandy, I'm a professional. And she said, and I'll tell you, she goes, I get nothing from the Mac product that I sell, but it's all about the quality that I have to put on my customers' faces. And I said, well, come check it out. She did that. She brought her Mac product. She tried that. She tested that. She was blown away. And I didn't try to sell her. I gave her the information. And I stood back and I let the product sell itself. Listen, sometimes you got to step back and you got to let the product sell itself. Jamoris, I remember you were excited about Isotonic's Champion Blend, right? You're like, hey, I got to have it. Because when you get excited, people are going to get excited. And listen, women, for us too, it's easy. When you're getting ready in your bathroom, guess what? Have somebody come along with you. Let them try the products. And invite your friends over a little bit early when you're not really ready, so they can come in and look at the products that you're using. Right? They're like, what's that? Oh, let me show you about it, right? And then now you're literally introducing people to products, but we can do that anywhere. Listen, when people come to my house, we have an isotonic bar. And I'll always say, would you like me to make you a cocktail? I put it in a wine glass for you. And they're like, oh no, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm not ready for alcohol. I'm like, no, you see, I said it's for women. I just like to make it fun. And we put it in a wine glass, but you know what? They're leaving with more energy, they're more excited about like, wait, what was that? I've introduced them without saying a word. I've literally shared the product that I'm using anyway. And guess what? People, they do, they get enrolled with that. And so, I know Emily Olson, Emily, why don't you come on down for a second? You'll give her a round of applause. So I kind of created this thing one time. It's called Put Your Face to Bed. And it's an event where, I didn't really want to get too involved with the makeup, but I wanted to talk about skincare. So I was telling these guys about it, and Emily and her team were like, we're going to do one. Let's do a Put Your Face to Bed. And I started singing it. Put your face to bed. So anyway, so I was talking to Emily before the event tonight, and I wanted her to share with you guys, how powerful this event was. I mean, how many ladies did you guys have there?
We had, was it 5 total?
5 total.
Yeah, 5 customers.
And you didn't have to do anything but instruct people to put the product on their face.
That's right.
And then how much money did you create, or how much money was created out of that?
$779.
Okay, can everybody say cha-ching? Okay, legally and morally, I don't know where you can go. How many hours did it take you?
2.
Okay, legally and morally, can you work at the Kroger's Pharmacy, legally and morally, and make $779 with 5 people that came through to check out at Kroger's, and you get to put that in your pocket? for 2 hours. Would you guys agree that that will raise your attention? Okay, and so then that also has BV. So remember, we're paid on the product that we get immediate retail profit on anything that we sell. But then there's what do we say that are attached to the product? Miss Christina? Boom! She said points. Yes. So our company pays us off of the points that are attached to this product. I don't know if you know roughly how many points, but there was probably a lot of points.
Yeah, it's usually 80% on the dollar, so probably about 500 somewhere in there.
So about 500 somewhere in there points that she got to share with all of her team. And then even the team members that were home sleeping. Even the team members, right, Emily, that, had no idea that they were doing this Put Your Face to Bed event, right? So people are literally at home sleeping and still making money. How do you guys think that that's great? So Emily, so tell us, so tell them how you did that. Like, tell them what you did, how that looked, when you guys got to the close, like, how did you close them, and what did that look like? Share with people what you did.
Well, so we did the event just like, because I talked to her, I was like, girl, I need to talk. Because I'm all about duplicatable, and we haven't talked about this one. So what we did is we highlighted the Skin Intelligence line and the Ligne de Vie line, and we basically just went through the steps. You're gonna, number one, take your makeup off. Everybody did that. Number two, you're gonna cleanse, and we gave them the options. We educated them on the different options that they had. They have the, we have the emulsion one, or do you like something that's sudsy, or do you like this new one? It's a micellar cleanser, and you don't even need water. And they're like, what? Like, tell me about that. That's weird. And so then we went into toning and told them different options of that, and then we tried a mask that's a firming mask, and it literally makes your face like firm ASAP. And everybody was like, ooh, what is this? And I'm like, yeah, I know. So went through that, and then we went through the treatment phase. So our customers that we had a lot of questions about fine lines and wrinkles and age spots, or what we call hyperpigmentation. And so we have some phenomenal products. And then we closed it all in with the moisturizer. And I put we have a volcanic mask that is also a detox. So we put that on the back of the hand, and then we took that off, and they can see a difference. There was no fine lines. There was it was much brighter and lighter. And so just in seeing the difference was like, ooh, let me get some of that, And so we just put the product on, tried it, and like you said, it sold itself, because they felt different. And I said, well, make sure the next day in the morning, I said, feel your face in the morning, because nothing is like when you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh my goodness, And so after that, what we did is we said, okay, well,
Talk about the clothes. What is that?
Yeah. So we went in, and I said, okay, now we're gonna just make a list. You guys jotted down notes, for each product. Get the ones that you like. And I said, come over here with me. And so we kind of broke up into different closing sections. And we just met and did a consult and went through, and I'm like, okay, so on your list, you put this, let's put that down. This, and you like that. Do you like that? You want to try that? And so we did, we went through, and $779 later. Now, anybody who bought anything got 5 tickets.
Yeah.
Okay? Anybody who bought over $100 got 10 tickets.
And just so that you understand that, the tickets that you were given when you walked in the door, right? You can buy those online at the Walmart or Target or wherever, but you get those, and those are like gold. Okay? When you get those tickets out, like she's saying, when you're sitting there and you're during your event, when this talks about always starting with the close in mind, listen, I start at the very beginning of any event that I do. I'm always like, listen, tonight we're going to be giving out tickets for anybody that acts like you're having fun. So if you smile, oh, ticket, and I let the guard down and let them know that, look, the main point of here is having fun, and so they're going to get tickets, and then when you get to the close, it's so easy because you're like, listen, for any purchase that you make tonight, you can get them on your back office, but what's crazy is that I'll tell people, I'm like, oh my gosh, tonight if you get the daily essential cups, if you get the daily essentials, you get the cup for free. And people are like, oh wait, I'm gonna get the cup for free? Okay. But if you don't have anything to offer them for free, y'all, it's happened these many times, where they're like, oh, I'm gonna get the cup for free? Listen, I offer people a gift with purchase of $60 or more. Because you know what, the mall does, so why wouldn't I? And right now we're working on our company creating gifts to give out for that type of thing, so stay tuned for that. But I think it's important to give things away because it really does increase your sales value, and whenever you get down to the close, it makes it a lot easier for you when you're giving out these tickets. So all throughout the event, you're giving out the tickets, and always starting with the end in mind is a huge thing for when you're preparing yourself to close, right? A coach prepares a team to win, but they don't start the day of the game practicing. They start ahead of the time. So you want to take this and you want to practice this. Get together with your teams, get together with your people, and if you're scared of makeup, start with a little skincare, like she said, because it's so easy. All you have to do is, okay, put this on. Okay, now take that off. Okay, now put this on. All right, leave that on. How's your face? You like it? You want some? It's that easy. True story. I do that in my bathroom. I just tell people I don't even get formal. I remember one night Tom comes in and he's like, we were in the bathroom. We had 4 girls in the bathroom, and he's like, man, you guys are a bunch of cackling hens. And I'm like, yeah. I said, well, we're just putting our faces to bed. He's like, what bed are you going to? And I was like, no, we're just sharing the product with them, And so, but truly, all I did was we all stood at the bathroom counter and we just put this on, take this off. Like, I just heard on their hands, put it on, take it off. I'm like, oh my gosh, doesn't your face feel amazing? And they're like, yeah, how did I get this? I'm like, girl, you're already closing yourself. I said, this is awesome, high five. You know what I mean? Because they're going to ask you when they like it, where do you get it? Because that's what happens. And you're not a salesperson. So I love that you gave out tickets for people who, purchase product, and then what happened?
Yeah. And so anybody who asked a question, anybody who got there on time, anybody who just showed up, they got tickets.
Yeah.
So we were giving that away like it's, going out of style. And then we cross-pollinated at the very end. We said, okay, so now we're just briefly going to talk about beauty from the inside out. And so we focused on that. We focused on the aloe, we did the beauty blend, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is good. I think we sold more isotonics than anything.
Wow.
So that was a big deal because then my team was there, and there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us there, all doing together. Monique, she really stepped up, and she was like my go-to person, and she was like, here, you need this, and you need this, and you need this, and all that stuff. And so she really brought the life to the party.
And it makes sense, like when you are doing an event, don't go by yourself. First of all, nobody wants to do this by themselves. I mean, right? We want to have fun doing this. Remember, the recipe is fun as more people. So when you bring, like they said, they had six business owners there. So isn't that nice that we just pick up the phone and we go, hey, we're going to do an event. We all show up. We all are like herds of cattle, if you have not ever noticed, going to an event. We all show up to support each other. But the beauty of it, listen, if you have one guest, they don't know. They think you got a party going on. You know what I mean? True story. Just like even at Mickey's house, there might have been one guest, but they had 4 people there. Nobody knows. Listen, you don't even have to feel bad. Like, oh man, I had one person show up. When you have their team there, you're like, woo! And then guess what? The person who's there, they feel like the odd man out. They need to be a part of it. Truly, that's what ends up happening. They're like, man, you guys are so much fun. I want to do this. And then it just gets to that question at the end where, it makes it easy to do that cross-pollination.
Right. Yeah, the cross-pollination was a big deal, and then we have a guest tonight from that event.
Oh, yeah! Elsie, come on up. Ellie. Miss Ellie, you're so cute. Come on up. She's like, oh my God, I would look out for you. Okay, wait. Just because I'm curious, you were a guest at the event. We're going to turn this way. All right. How are you doing today? Wonderful. You were so sweet. Like, she's been back there smiling the whole time, so receptive. She's been like, every time I look back there, she's like, so tell us what you thought of the event.
I was amazing. And I had a whenever I got there, I was able to really relax, and it was just enjoyable. It was comfortable, you know, and the ladies, you know, being a part of that was a blessing. And, you know, it was about the, you know, the way that they were doing it too. You know, it was like pretty much take your makeup off.
Everything she said. You were like, oh God.
I'm like, go put your face to bed. But
Yeah,
she's like, okay, yeah.
It was. Whenever I left there, I had felt so good.
Oh,
You know?
oh, that's what it's about. She said it brought her joy. And I just, oh, she's like gonna cry. Okay, so listen to me. Listen to me, people. People. People say, I am not scared. Because I can bless someone like Ellie. Listen, people are waiting to be loved on. People are waiting to feel special. You know, she said she had a heart. Oh, she said it did that. You know, when you don't know, but if you don't ask, you're never gonna have Miss Ellie come along in your life. And you know what? Somehow, some way, she got here tonight, right? So they're talking about the next event. Listen, people, this is what it's about. Listen, if she never bought one thing, it does not matter, because we've enriched her life as we planted seed that will grow forever in her. And I don't know, like, I really would love you to come be a part of what we do. Oh my God! He's like, he's gonna come partner with us. I think that's great. You know, what a great testimony, and we're so proud to have you. I'm gonna tell Samantha to give you an extra ticket. Sam, give her an extra ticket. Thank you. Thank you. You don't give them around the cross. All right. All right, so at the very end of an event, what we're gonna do, we're gonna get together and you guys are gonna do closing questions. Right? We're gonna just practice this, because like we say each and every week, you can hear me do it all day long, but until you kind of have to go through it, it's not going to make as much sense. So when you're sitting down with someone and at the close, it's like, right here are the 3 questions. Did you have fun? Everybody say that. And then you have to look at me. Did you have fun? And you're always shaking your head. And you're always smiling. Did you have fun? And then guess what? You guys all did that. Oh, that's all. All right, so what did you like most? What did you like most? What did you want to get started with? And then, hey, zip it, lock it. Do not be me. Do not shoot yourself in the foot. I don't know why. I don't know how it happens, but this is the most magical part, is the first person that talks loses. I am telling you, sometimes it feels like forever. You can be sitting there. One time, I doodled a whole garden on a sales receipt. I made the flowers and the roses and the sun and all this stuff. And that's how long. But do you know the lady bought over $145 worth of product, and I sat there and doodled on a garden thing because I refused to speak. And so, you know, I just said, you know, did you have fun? Right? So, you know, what did you like the most? And tell me what you want to get started with, and zip it. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the clock, and you find a partner. So look next to you, find somebody. You're not allowed not to do this. So you have to practice the close. Miss Ellie, you can practice with us too. And Christina, we'll practice. You guys get together. But I'm going to set the clock, and I want you guys to go over the close with each other. If you have those ones that are telling you no, this is where she's like, well, she told me no. I don't know what to do now. Listen, it's really easy. A lot of times, I'm going to let you get back to this, because maybe then you can practice that no. But a lot of times, if they're like, you know what, I'm just not interested, or thank you so much, but I don't have the money, here's what you want to do. You literally look at that person and tell you, if they say no, then you want to be the one to go, you know what, you lower your voice and you say, oh, okay, well listen, if there was a way, can I ask you a question? If there was a way that you could get this for little or no money, would you even wear it? Did you like the product? If I could show you a way. Because 9 times out of 10, it's money. And if you could show somebody a better way, right? to be able to get the product, and you just simply ask them. If they say, no, I've really never used the product, then you know what you do? You say, great, listen, thank you for letting me use your face tonight. And if you know of any other faces I'm going to challenge, you know what? That'd be great, thank you. It's no problem. Not everybody's going to buy from you. And you have to be okay with that. But when they say no, and then you can move them to the next, because she was like, she said no. And I was like, she didn't tell us that. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't. And so when they say no, you just assume they're all going to say yes, right? So when they say no, you just go, oh, okay, you know what? Can I ask you a question? If I could show you a way to get this for a little or no money, would you even use it? Did you like it? You know? And then if she says, yeah, well, that's great, because listen, we have a hostess program, and I'd love to show it to you, because you can actually earn $100 in free product. And let me show you how. And then you simply show them the hostess program that we have. And the hostess program is $20. They get $20 for free. And we're going to be doing it. I'll actually put the hostess program on the Leadership Academy page, but we'll break that down for you guys. But literally, it's so great, because it's $20 if they have four or more people over the age of 18. They get $20 for free. And then they get $20 for free if they have $200 or more in sales. They get $20 for free if they hold their event on the scheduled date. And they have one chance to change it. So then they get $20 if they simply just take a look at the opportunity. Because you have to practice the opportunity, and so they're going to get $20 for free if they do that. So, it's a win-win situation, because if I sold $200 or more in sales, then is it worth me to give $100 out if that's just one of the portion? Because here's the deal, it averages $100 a face. And if I have 4 people there, what's that $20 going to gain me? 400. Right? Is that worth it all together right there? And another way they get $20 is they have a booking for the next event, or they get 2 bookings from the event. So, and look, that's what you guys even did. You got bookings, you had sales. So right away they can interest someone if they can't afford the product, how they can simply find 4 people and leverage getting free product just from the hostess challenge. And it's fun, because it's a win-win, right? And so that's what happens if they say no. And you don't have to get into details about the hostess program. The greatest thing is we'll put the flyer out, you simply download it, put it in an envelope, because you don't have time to explain it all. Just simply say, hey, you know what, Kelly? It's good to hear. Let me give you this packet. Let me call you in the next 24 hours. But let's tentatively get something on the books. And if you need to change it, no problem. We can do that when I call you to explain what's in that packet and how you're going to earn that $100 for free. Is that okay? And so right away, I'm saving time, because I'm just simply going to let her know that I'm going to call her and explain that to her, while she doesn't have to do that right there. And then I'll move on to the next person. And it's easy, right? So, and trust me, most cosmetic companies are owned by men, so men don't miss out on this. Leverage us ladies and the events that you can tap into with motives, especially in skincare events, because you know what? You got the easiest job. You're like, hey, I know these girls that are doing this event, just plug them in, and you win, right? And so that's a big thing. So that's what you do if they say no. So we're going to take one more minute to let you guys finish that. So go ahead, keep going. So we have homework for the week if you want to snap a picture of it. You're going to do on your UF Media app. So I love Christina. Look at she's a guest tonight, taking pictures of the homework. Love that. And I'll teach you how to do this, Christina. weeks. And then you're going to make a playlist on YouTube of the 5 to 10 product videos that you think are good and send out to 2 customers or potential customers. Remember, you want to always read back in front of your customers. Say, oh my gosh, I'm in a challenge. I have to send my customers, 2 of these videos, and I thought of you. Would you mind if I send you a video? And tell me, I need to follow up with you. So when do you think you're going to be able to put your eyes on that video? Ask them. Don't be chicken, right? Okay, get a 40 on your weekly checklist, and then send a thank you card to a non-UFO or non-prospect. Example, thanking your 3rd grade teacher for how they contributed to your life. I don't know who my 3rd grade teacher was at this point, but someone that's contributed to your life that is not in this business. Because you know what you're doing? You're spreading more seeds of value when you let people know how special they are. And then, the person who sells the most joint health. Was that last week? I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I was like, wait, yeah, joint health. So we'll win a prize for next week. And then, last but not least, you guys, before we do the prizes and go for the night, Big Al, you guys do not want to miss him. And we did sell out, but we do have a handful of tickets that we got to collect and gather. Don't kill each other getting back there. But Big Al is a director with the company. Actually, he's an executive director, Tom.
Yes.
So he makes $25,000 to $36,000 every 4 weeks. He used to work in the prison system. He used to say I was in prison. And his wife, little Debbie, who's also a motives trainer, she was actually the motives trainer of the year last year. They are a phenomenal couple, hilarious. Oh my gosh. I mean, just for the comedy show alone, you don't want to miss it. Maybe the best $30 you ever spent. But for the business training from a man who literally worked in the prison system, like he said, and this guy is full of love, full of inspiration, and he has ways that you want to definitely make sure to be here because he is smooth, as butter. And his heart is bigger than this whole church, and he loves people and he loves to train. He's probably one of the greatest trainers. As a matter of fact, the first trainer I ever saw. And he'll probably tell you all that story of me coming to his training. I was not very positive. But at the end of the day, he'd say, I knew you were going to be something, And it's just because I didn't know what I didn't know either, right? So get people here, right? Get people here, get you here, but there's only a couple tickets left, and it looks like Nick might be back there wanting to buy them all. So let's do drawings. Nick, you cannot buy all the tickets. All right, so drum roll. I don't know if we got our drum roll. You're going to take the first thing when you come in. Okay, here's what we do. We're going to call out the first 4 numbers, and everybody goes. And the last 3, everybody goes. And the winner goes. Okay. 5900. 你们。